right, there we go. So once again, and remember that it's also being sponsored by Shmuel Beck in memory of his grandson's bris, the grandson Daniel Ezra. Mazel Tov. Yiskele Gadla the Torah the people the Master Tovim.
Yes.
What? Mazel Tov. Mazel to the uncle.
That's right.
No, the granduncle. The great uncle.
Yeah. What? A
great granduncle.
A great? Rabbi, it's an uncle. Don't start with great. A good uncle. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Do David. Both spelled the same way. That's right.
Yes. Have one left.
So name the three. Name the three in the time of David, whose name began and ended with the same letter.
What?
There were three at the time of David HaMelech. David is one of them. There are two. Yishai is another. The name of the Navi. Nasan HaNavi.
Nasan, yeah.
Nasan HaNavi. So those are the three. First letter was the same as the last.
Amen.
You recording?
It's recording already. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. We are on Vav Amud Beis, about 10 lines down. Last word on the line.
1, 2, 3. From the top, right?
From the top. Yeah. Last word on the line. V'amar.
Okay, Boro. Yes.
V'amar Rebbe Yitzchok. We've had till now along the daf a whole bunch of things that were said by Rebbe Yitzchok. So it's continuing with things that are said by Rebbe Yitzchok. And he starts out by telling us, Imra Isa Rasha, if you see a wicked person, Shahasha Maschekeslo, and you see that the time is smiling at him, meaning he's doing very well, even though he's a Rasha. Al Tisgorebo, don't start up with him because his stars are shining, so to speak. Why would that happen? Because the Rishayim get their reward in Olam Hazeh, and this ultimately takes away from their any long-term reward in Olam Haba. So maybe this shows Maschekas low at this moment, but don't start up with him. Shenemar, he goes to the pasuk in Tehillim, where it says, Al tischar b'mereim. Don't have truck business with, wicked people. Below ode, not only this, his ways will be successful, even though he's wicked and doesn't deserve to be successful, but Hashem has put it in order that his ways will be successful. Shenamar, and he quotes the pasuk over there until in the same pasuk. Yachilu derachav. The word yachilu comes from is related to the word yatzlichu. That's what it means, success. Yatzlichu or yachilu derachav. David HaMelech is saying in Tehillim, yatzlichu or yachilu derachav b'chol heis. His drachim are going to go and be successful at all times. Below Od, the Gemorah continues, not only will he be successful, even if you drag him into court, you think you're going to win, he's going to win. Shenemar, Morom, all part of the same pasuk. Morom mishpatecha minegdo. Exalted on high are your judgments corresponding to him, meaning he's going to win. Below Od, not only that, he's going to see the victory against his enemies. Shenemar, all part of the same pasuk, called Soderov Yofiach Bahem. All of his enemies are going to be blown away by him. That's it. He's going to get away from them. He's going to win in all cases. He's going to win. Says Rashi, third line from the top, Yochilu means, Rashi says, Yatzlichu. V'domelo, he brings a raya. The pasuk says in Iyov, Al kain lo yochil tuvo. Therefore, his goodness will not be victorious. Okay. And then it says, Moram mispatecha kinegdo. Exalted are your judgments corresponding to him, meaning misulokin heimimenu. They are removed from him. And as all his judgments that he deserves punishments are going to be removed from him in this world, so they can get it in Olam Haba. Yafiach behem means benefich, but he can be blown away. That's where the expression comes from. He can be blown away. Benefich ba'alma einofim. They're going to fall down just by a little blow. You blow at him, and he's going to fall down. Okay. All right. So what do we say till now? All we see that Rabbi Yitzchok says, if a wicked person sees good things happening to him, don't start up with him. Ask the Gemorah, Eini, is that really so that you can't start up with a wicked person when he's having a little bit of luck? Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, Mutter l'hisgaros b'rasharim ba'olam hazeh. You're allowed to start up with the wicked in this world. That's what he said. Shenemar, he quotes a pasuk in his defense. Ozvei Torah yechalilu rasha. Ozvei Torah yahalilu rasha. Those who leave the Torah are going to praise the wicked. The Shomrei Torah, but those who guard the Torah, Yizgaru bam. They're going to start up with them. Oh, wait a minute. So we see from this pasuk, right, the ones who leave the Torah, they're going to be on the Russia side. But the ones who are Shomrei Torah, they're going to start up with them. You, Rabbi Yitzchok said, you can't start up. Here, Rabbi Yochanan says, you can't start up. The Tanya, and we learned in the Brisa about this pasuk, Rabbi Destoy bar Motun Omar, he said, Mutul is Goros B'Shorim Ba'olam Hazeh. You're allowed to start up with the wicked in this world. Ve'im lachshoch adam lomer. Somebody's going to whisper to you. Somebody's going to come over and tell you. Al tischa b'medem. Oh, he's going to quote the pasuk we started originally from Tehillim. Right. And they say, no, you don't start up with the wicked people, but the kind of osei avla, and don't make jealousy with the ones who do iniquity. Sorry, they're going to have a defense. Don't think that that's the reality, because mi shelibo nokvo Omar came. Someone whose heart is beating in his chest is the one who is saying that. What the Gemara means to say is, as Rashi, first line in the narrow lines in the top, mi shelibo nokvo hayore minu aveiro shebiyado. Somebody who's afraid that he's got averos in his hand. In other words, the person hasn't got confidence in what he's doing because he knows that he's doing sins, and when he's doing averos, so his heart is pounding in his chest. I don't have schusim, So somebody who doesn't have schusim, he's yorei minu averos shebiyada omer kain. He's the one who says al tischar be'mereyim. Okay, that's what he says. That's what he says. He's not quoting the end of the pasuk. It's not the end of the pasuk. Yeah. All right, but he's
the first part.
So if somebody comes to you and says, "Don't start up with the wicked," and don't start up with them. As he said, Al tischar b'medayim. What's your question?
Because in the first part, we're saying that shouldn't start up with successful.
No, that was only the introduction by Rabbi Yitzchok. What Rabbi Yitzchok said, if you see successful, don't start up. What did he quote as a pasuk? Al tischar b'medayim. Right? That's what he quoted as a pasuk. Al tischar b'medayim. So here, Rabbi Destoy bar Motan said, you're allowed to stop with the Rishon. And you're going to tell me what Rabbi Yitzchok said. Someone's going to tell you, what about the pasuk al tischar b'medayim? Al tekana b'yosei avla? No. When Rabbi Yitzchok made that statement, that was the person who, Rabbi Yitzchok was talking there about the guy who's libo nokfo. That was talking about when the guy was successful and you don't want to start up with him. That was talking about the guy who's libo nokfo. But if your libo is not nokfo, go start up with him. Yeah. So. Yeah. I'm bringing. Don't say that pasuk is going to contradict me. Nah, that pasuk is talking about Misha Libo Nogfo. Don't say that it's going to bother me. It doesn't bother me. I'm not afraid of that because my Libo is not Nogfo, so I'm starting up with him. Okay, all right, okay. Ella, what does Al Tischor B'Mereya mean? If you're not interpreting it the way Rabbi Yitzchok interpreted it, which said don't start up with them, and you're saying it's only a reference to somebody who's Libo Nogfo. How do you interpret Al Tischor B'Mereya? Yeah, don't start up with them. Ella, what he says is Al Tischar B'Mereya means Lios B'Mereya. Don't have business. Tischar Socher. Don't have business with wicked people means Lios Kimereyim. To be, excuse me, like the wicked people. And don't be jealous of the ones who do iniquity means Lios Ka'ose Avla. To be like the people who do. I said, don't have business with them, don't have truck with them, don't join with them. That's basically what it means. Rashi, Al Tischar, Eino Loshin Giru. It's not an expression of starting up, Ella Shalo Tochaz B'Masa, but don't have grabbing on to his deeds. Kimo, he agrees, close to pasuk in Yirmiyah, the Eich Tischore es Asusim, Kilomar, She'eino Rotz Kimoso. You can't run as fast as the horses. Don't try to race them out. Okay, all right. The Omer, back to the Gemara, and further it says, Al Yekane Libcha Ba Chatoim. Don't be jealous in your heart about sins. The pasuk goes on to say, Ki im b'yiras Hashem. What you're only supposed to be worried about is yiras Hashem. Don't worry about in your heart. Oh, maybe I should be like. Look, they're having so much fun. Yeah. Look at this. Broadway. Come on. Times Square. You're having a great time. Oh, you're having fun yet? Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Answer Gemara lo kasha. There's no problem. When it says all these psukim, ho b'mili didei. Okay. When it's talking about personal things, when it's talking about personal things, don't start up with them. Because they're successful in their personal things. But when they're making trouble against Hashem, open your mouth and start up. Don't let people get away with murder, right? When it's a personal thing, right? Then you can let them get away. It's not your business. They're doing terrible things. They're robbing. They're stealing for their own personal things. But when they're making Chilul Hashem, B'milei Dishmaya, and they're attacking against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then you can get involved. Then you can get involved. Yeah. There's a parish by brought down by Rasul Alka in the Sefer Likutei, Basar Likutei. He quotes the parish Malaya Ketores. I don't know who it was, but he quotes the Malaya Ketores, and he brings down and he says, when the Gemara says here, B'milei didei, let them be. Let them be. But when they are starting B'milei dishmaya, then you got to open your mouth and fight against it. The pshat he says is this. When it's talking about Milei didei, the things that are about the person themselves, why do you let them be? He says a fascinating thing. He says let's say a person is doing the wrong thing, and the reason he's doing them is because he has a tremendous Yetzer Hara. He's got a Yetzer Hara. So he's doing all kinds of wrong things, and he's going after his own personal desires. He's going after his own desires. So all he's doing is all the wrong things he's doing is he's only doing it because of himself, of his inner drive, whether Yetzer Hara or pleasure. It's all from himself. But if it's merely the day, you don't got to start up with it. Why? Because if it's only his own personal desire and nothing more, it's not a global issue, it's just a personal issue, he's going to run out of steam. Eventually, he's going to say, it's impossible to fulfill it anyway. It's impossible. You can't. And at some point, he's going to look at himself, trying to fulfill. And the hope is, because it's impossible, Yesh lo mana, what's a Messiah? Yesh lo Messiah, what's our bomeos, whatever.
Right.
You never see, so it's unsatiable. It's unquenchable. You can't quench that. You're never going to be satisfied. So such a person, if it's only Yitzchok, he could turn around. He could realize, this is foolish. I'm not getting anywhere. It's no good. A man is married, he's running after other women, it's going to break up his marriage, his children, it's going to be terrible. Eventually, maybe he'll wake up and he'll realize this whole thing is all baloney. And maybe he'll come back to himself. But when he's starting up a Milei Dishmaya, says the Malaika Torah, when he's starting up, he makes a Chil Hashem. And he's getting other people. He's a Choti Umachti. He's trying to get other people to sin. It's Milei Dishmaya. He's trying to rope other people in. Go parade out there and show how proud we are of how wicked we are. If you're talking about a situation like that, you got to open your mouth. You got to say what's wrong, and you got to say it lower than Aleph. That's all. That's the difference. All right. That's the way he interprets this. Okay. All right. V'baya Sema. Okay. V'baya Sema, the Gemara says, and if you want, you can live with another teretz. In both cases, it's talking about his own personal desire. But lo kasha. One says you can start up, and one says you can't start up. Which one is which? B'tzadik gomor. When he's a tzadik gomor, all right, then you could start up with him. You are a tzadik gomor, you could start up with the person who is wicked. But a tzaddik that's not a tzaddik gomer, don't start up with these guys. Because maybe the fact that you're not a tzaddik gomer and you don't have enough zechusim to overcome him, don't get involved in that. Now the only question is, of course, what? What's the only question? Who's the tzaddik gomer?
That's what I was thinking. All the tzaddikim always think that they're lower.
You're thinking right. That's good. Good thinking. Yeah. How do you? So there's no individual that can go and say, I can start up with it.
I guess.
Yeah, right.
Unless somebody's about
No. Unless he's given the permission and the right by position. You elect the person to Av Bezdin, and if he's going to keep quiet when things are going wrong, he's not an Av Bezdin.
Don't even think about it.
Right? He's not a tzaddik. He can't say, I'm not a tzaddik. He's got to stand up and say, no, this is wrong. Right? When the Moshe Zal saw things that were wrong, he was like a lion. The famous tshuva, which we still have a copy of over there, where he writes down, Poshet, he says, how foolish the people are that they're going after Gimel Vav Dalid, Tes Yud Yud Mem. Gimel Vav Dalid, Tes Yud Gimel Vav Dalid, Tes Yud Yud Mem. Good time.
Yeah.
They're running after the good time. He writes those words in the tshuva.
Right.
He says all of a sudden we have the tshuva. It's over there. I saw a copy there this morning. We used it in the Daf Yomi the other day.
Right.
They're running after the good time. He said, come on. Okay.
And what about tzaddik she'eino gomor?
Tzaddik she'eino gomor, so he shouldn't start up because he doesn't know. Maybe because if he's not so gomor, maybe his faults are such that it will not help him to be successful. That's all. All right. There is a mashur here, but I don't think it's stuff on. I don't think it's stuff on this piece, but I did mark off a mashur here. Is it? No, it's later on. Okay, later on. Okay, we'll get to it later. Okay. All right, Zok the Gemara Vayta. Here we go. The Amar Rav Huna, because Rav Huna said, "My diksiv." What does the pasuk in Habakkuk mean when it says, Lama sabit bogdim. Why are you looking at the Rishayim? Bogdim means Rishayim. Bogade, right? What? A rebellious person. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Pointed out by some of the masters of etymology, right? What's the Hebrew word for garment? Why do we call garment from the word bogade, beged?
Where they dress.
Yeah, okay, good. So what do you think?
Where they dress.
Who did the first Aveira? Oh, and what did Hashem make for them after they sinned? Beged, right, because they were ashamed. So the Godim are symbolic of rebellion. Had they not, there would not have been that Yetzer Hara that would have grabbed hold. It's unbelievable when you think about it. And the letters of Beged, Beis Gimel Dalet. Right from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah. The Echad Elokeinu B'Shamayim V'Aretz was ignored. Beis Gimel Dalet. Understand? The Echad Elokeinu Shebashamayim V'Aretz was ignored. Yeah, Beis Gimel Dalet. Bogey. Each letter is a very strong consonant. It's a very strong letter. A beis. It's a powerful letter. That's why Vayomer is different than Vayedaber. Vayedaber, you look throughout Chazal, you'll see. Vayomer is Lashon Rafa, and Vayedaber is Lashon Kosher. Right? I say it all the time. Right? Okay. Kosomar Leves Yaakov, right? Which is also a consonant-filled word. It's a much stronger. Consonants are stronger than soft vowel sounds. Okay, this are all this is hinted to in the underlying thing. Okay, let's go a little weiter here. Okay, here we go. It says Lama Sabit Bogdim Hacharish Bevala Russia Tzadik Mimenu, and you're silent when the Russia swallows the tzaddik that's greater than him, right? That's the question that Habakkuk asks. So the Gemara analyzes. Why does it say tzaddik mimenu boleya? Why does it say Bevala Russia Tzadik Mimenu? So the Gemara answers. It says tzaddik mimenu boleya. The tzaddik that is a little better than him, then the Russia can swallow him because he hasn't got tzaddik gomer with on his side. He's just a little bit better than the Russia, so the Russia can swallow him. Tzaddik gomer ain't no boleya. But if the guy is a emes to goodness, tzaddik gomer, then he won't be able to swallow him. And if you want, I'll give you another teret. When the whole discussion we had, and David pointed out a little bit on the topic, when it started out, we were talking in Ra'isa, Russia, Shahashah, Maschekes, right? So once you're dealing with a Russia that's Maschekes low, stay away. Yeah, Al Capone was riding high for a long time, but ultimately he was no longer Shah Maschekes low.
What do you do? I'm not Al Capone.
The same thing goes for same thing goes for all the Rishayim in the world. There's a time where they're flying high and everything looks great, and then they stumble by their own wicked foolishness, and they end up shooting themselves in their head with a revolver.
Yeah,
and that's the end of that. Okay. Is there any Rashi here? Yeah. Yeah. Near Rashi, we're over here.
Gomer.
Al Tischar.
We did that already.
Girui el shalot tochaz b'maasov. That's what it means. Kemo ve'ech tischara esa. So yeah, koloma she'ena what's kemosa. Okay. Ve'omar yitari libcha v'chatoim ki'im b'yiras Hashem kol hayom. That's the end of the pasuk. Al karchacha ein kinazu loshen gira giri Muhammad. This pasuk is not an expression of going to battle in war. Ella achizas ma'asav. It's talking about someone who is grabbing on to the wicked deeds that he sees. It the same, the pasuk says you should only be jealous of doing things that will bring us closer to Hashem. Okay, right in the Gemara. This last piece before the Mishnah. Okay. Omar Ula. Ula comes along and said, now this is also connected with the previous Gemara where we spoke about the previous daf. And the previous daf, we spoke about the Yevonim, and when the Chashmonaim came, and there was different groups that took over Edom, and we learned the pasuk of L'om Elom Yemotz. One will be stronger than the other. All right. So now we're going back to that theme. Omar Ula, Italia Shel Yavan. This is similar to the Gemamya on the top, Shel Edom. So now he's talking Italia. What's Italia? Italy. Yeah. Italia Shel Yavan. The Italy of the Greeks. Yeah. Zekrach Gadol Sharon. That was the big city in Italy. The big city was Rome. Okay. Now, how big was it? It was 300 parses by 300 parsa. Okay, you want to do the math? Go ahead. A parsa is what? Daled mil. Okay, one parsa is daled mil. A mil, 2,000 amas. So a mil is about 4/5 of a mile. Let's call it a mile. So, right, so daled mil to one parsa is 4 miles, right? And here we said it's 300 parsas, and a parsa is daled.
75 times 75.
100.
So 375. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So
100 miles, but you take off 10%.
okay. So it's pretty large, very large. Yeah, in each direction.
How many miles?
1,000 miles in each direction. Okay, which is not, Okay, all right. The Yeshba goes further. The Yeshba, interesting number coming up. Shin Samachay Shivakin, 365 marketplaces. Keminyan Yamosachame, equal to the days of the sun year. Bekotan Shebakulam Shalmoche Ophos, and the smallest market over there was the guys who sold birds. It was for the birds, yeah. Bahavya Shisha Osa Mil al Shisha Osa Mil. It was 16 mil by 16 mil. The Maral goes and analyzes the whole thing. He said, no, it's not exact. This is all, symbolically represented. Okay, all right. Now watch this. Umelech Soed B'chol Yom Be'ech Mehem. The king every day would go into a different one of the markets during the year, 365. That's where he would eat. Okay. Every market gets
every day he went to
another market. He went out to eat, right? I mean, how many times can you go out to eat? I don't know. Even if you go out for pizza every day, I don't know. It's possible, but okay. At some point, I don't know. Okay. Anyway. Okay.
Last night.
Mrs. Steinmetz.
Once a lifetime
to the Lord.
Well, once a lifetime. Well, you got to have a real Yitzchok even to start eat. If you ate the first course and you stopped, you would have a good meal.
Right?
Yeah. But those who were intelligent took home the second, third, and fourth courses, and they have for the whole week.
Why did some people complain there wasn't enough food of it?
There's a lot about keep it right in.
Yeah. Okay. So we had some divrei Torah in between. We danced a little bit. Think that Yayin. It was a simcha. Okay, we'll let you get away with it this time.
Why not?
All right, now.
So this mitzvah.
And it's a Sudas mitzvah, right. And the simcha made it a bigger mitzvah, right. But Hadarba, and someone who lived there in that Italia Shel Yavan, Aval Pisha Eina Nolad Bo, even though he wasn't born there, no tel prasmi beis hamelech. If you're born there, you get a prize. But hanolad bo aval pisha eino dor. But if you were born there and you didn't even live there, no tel prasmi beis hamelech. If you live there, you get a prize. Okay. Ushlosha alofim beibani yeshbo, and there were 3,000 bathhouses.
Wow.
In the place, right? Very clean people. V'chamesh me'os chalonos. And there were 500 windows on the outside walls. Malin Oshan Chutz Lechoma. the city was walled to some degree, and there was so much burning of incense and other things that the smoke could have killed you, but they had windows, air conditioning, and they opened it up and it went outside the windows and didn't bother anybody. Yeah, they weren't smoking pot.
They're
Okay.
not really smoking until it began.
Yeah. Sido Echad Yam, one side of this city was the sea, Mediterranean, possibly, or the Atlantic. But Sido Acher Horim Ugvos, the other side was filled with mountains and peaks. Sido Echad Mechitza Shel Ba'azel, one side was a mechitza of steel or iron. But Sido Echad Chulsis Umetzula. The other side was filled with heavy stones and rocks. Rashi. Now let's take a look at Rashi over here. Fascinating. There are a few minutes here. Krach Godol Shegot. Italia Shalom was a very big city, right? Now, where
Italia sounds like Italy and Yavan sounds like Greece.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. One. In historical terms, Yavan led into Rome. That really was what happened over time, right? Yavan was Greeks were first over 100 years.
How far is Italy from Greece?
It's not too far. It's across the map. A little.
The world empire shifted from Greece
Right,
to
to Rome. Yeah, it shifted. The Greeks. Well, really, when we talk about the Yavanim refer to the Syrian Greeks.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Right?
Oh, yeah, that's what
Hanukkah, yeah. But the Greeks preceded the Romans in historical terms as the world power. All right. Okay, now, so Rashi says here, how did this power arise? Look at this. Rashi's fascinating. He says, Shegadal b'shvil avon Menashe. It got big because of the wickedness and the sins of Menashe.
That's all? Oh, wow.
What?
500 miles.
500 miles from Rome to Greece? I don't think so.
Okay. B'shvil avon Menashe. Menashe, we'll see. We have the Navi here. We'll take a look in a minute. Shebishah she'ichnis tzelem behecho. When Menashe, the Jewish king, right? When Menashe brought the Tzelem into the Beis Hamikdash, Yorad Gavriel, famous Gemorah in Shabbos, Yorad Gavriel, the Malach went down, the Noas Tzkona Bayom, and he stuck a reed into the sea, the Godal Alav Chelka Gedola, and a great island grew on top of this reed, the Nivne L'Shem Italia Shel Yavan, and it was built called Italia Shel Yavan. All right. May Ea Elisha. He calls the person Yecheziel is the Targaminan min Miniguzas Italia from the Miniguzas Italia. Shivakim means chutzos, courtyards. Ras means Muslim. They would give him a meal. Chalonos shemalim oshan chutzachoma. They had walls that were bringing smoke up the wall. Shehain givoin minachoma. It was higher than the wall, right? The ein ma'an shnin es achoma v'zeu chashivas. That's a very important thing. They made sure that the chalonos were at the top so that the walls didn't get all blackened. Okay. Chulsis means makom avonim dakos. It's a place of thin little stones, pebbles. The Marsha first. The Marsha on daf. It's the first daf in the Marsha on the second side of the first daf. Aleph on the base in the Marsha, and the end of the first section on the right side, you'll see he says Krach Gadol Shel Romi Gimel Meyos, and then it says V'shin Samachei Shivakim Kol Elu Devarim Haim Sipur Gadol Asam V'Chashivasam. Oh, the Marsha said this is just a statement of how great the place was. Shel Romi Lashon Inan, to let us know in La'ove Ritzono. Now, Marsha is fascinating because what is Marsha saying? Rome, Greek, against everything Hashem stood for. And what's the whole point of the Gemara bringing all this down? Listen to this. Lashon Inan Im La'ove Ritzono Kach. if the ones who go against Hashem get all this reward, those say Ritzono Yisrael says Logo Alachas Kama Kama. Okay, and then he brings down a little further. V'chein Matzinu b'Midrash Yerushalayim Lo'asati Gedola Arba Meos Parsa K'chol Eretz Yisrael. Yerushalayim is one day going to be as big as the whole Eretz Yisrael. Okay, the Menashe. What? So you got to take a look in Melachim Beis in Perek Kaf Aleph. Those of you who don't know about Menashe, it's crucial to know a little bit of this historical figure in Melachim who did some things that it's unbelievable. You can't imagine he did such a thing. But here it is. Chizkiyahu was a great king. We learned the other day about Chizkiyahu. We mentioned even in the Daf that Chizkiyahu, we learned about the whole Indian of Puravu. Remember we had, and it's such a mitzvah to be fill up the world because of the pasuk of L'Sheves Yitzara, even though he fulfilled the mitzvah of a boy and a girl, which is Meikar Adin, the Raisa law, and L'Sheves Yitzara is Midrabanan, and he didn't want to bring any more children into the world because he had a vision that his children were going to be wicked, and that was, of course, Menashe. Hashem said, "V'hadei kasher achmano." In Hashem's business, what are you putting your 2 cents in? You do what the right thing is. Let the world worry. That's all. Okay. So it says over here in Perek Kaf Aleph. I'll just read a little bit. I'll translate very freely. Ben Steimes Menashe was 12 years old when he took over the reins from his father Chizkiyahu.
12
He
years
died.
old.
12 years old, child king. But 12 years old is relative because it's used many times to demonstrate already somebody on the cusp of being a full adult, especially in those days.
Right.
Okay. Well, it depends on the midrashim. Okay. Anyway, what?
I think Shlomo Melech.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah. What's amazing thing is one of the longest ruling kings in all of Jewish history, 55 years. David HaMelech and Shlomo lived 40 years. He was 55 years. Yeah. V'shemi Mochepti Bo, mentions his mother's name, and then it says Vayasar Rabba Eli Hashem. He did all the evil in the eyes of Hashem, like all the abominations of the Goyim that Hashem drove out. What did he do? He built the Bamos, which Chizkiyahu's father got rid of. He made mizbachos to the Baal. He made the Asherah tree. Like Achav did his way back, not his ancestor, right? The Asherah tree. Evergreen. They thought Kratzmach, yeah. Why was the evergreen worship? Because it must be the God of the trees. Because all the other trees lose their leaves, and evergreen is always green. So it must be God. There's a logic to all this. You understand? Abyssal Truma logic, but it's a logic. Okay. He worshipped the stars. He built mizbachos in Hashem's house. That Hashem said in Yerushalayim, I'm going to place my name there. He built mizbachos l'chol tzva Hashemayim to all the stars and the sun and the moon. And now Pasuk Vav says the hever is noble eish. He did the Molech job by putting his son through the fire. Yeah, and he was onain and a nichesh. He was onain and a nachesh and a chashev. He was a mamash. Also over Yedonim, he made him so wicked, right? He put a Pesel Asherah in the house of Hashem. Unbelievable, right? And all this, right? And he went on. This Perek in Perek Kaf Aleph and Melachim Beis. It's full of dam. The gam dam noki shavach menashe harbe ma'od ad Hashem ilei Yerushalayim pele peh. From wall to wall, it was filled with the blood of innocent people. The mamish a Rasha Marusha, right? Okay. That's besides all the other sins he did and so on and so forth. Finally, in Pasuk Yilches, right? Menashe was buried, and he was buried in the Gan Uzzah, and his son Amon took over from him. Okay, end of story. So he did the evil of Hashem like his father did. And he went in all the ways his father did.
Yes.
Turn off the phone. Hello, turn off the phone.
And he went in the barrel.
The latest, quarter 10, the latest. After that, if you can't come at quarter 10, then forget about it, okay? Okay.
He did the wicked in the eyes of Hashem like his father. He went in all the wicked ways and so on and so forth. And all right, end of story. But you go to Divrei Hayomim, Beis, you got to pay Reklamet Gimel. Unbelievable. Pay Reklamet Gimel. Yeah, if his son Yoshio was the one who brought everybody back to Hashem, there was never anybody who brought everybody like Hashem. But what about him himself? So it says here in Perek Lamed Gimel, again, he was 12 years old when he started the rule, and he did the evil in the eyes of Hashem, right? Yeah. And he built all the bamas and so on and so forth. It goes through the whole thing more or less, right? And then it says, Hashem decided he's going to bring the king of Asher, and they captured Menashe in chains, right? And so on. All of a sudden, Vayispalel Elov, Menashe davens to Hashem. Vayeyoser Elov, Hashem accepted his tefillah. Vayishmat chinoso, Vayeshiveyu Yerushalayim Malchusa, and he put him back on the throne. And Menashe knew that Hashem was God. Okay, unbelievable, right?
People have no shame.
He went, and he did tshuva, and so on and so on. I don't know.
Because they hate it.
Okay. Now you won't hear him anymore. I muted him all. Okay. All right. So in the end of the perek, it says over here, Aval od ha'om zovchim babamos. The nation still, even after he did tshuva, they still made, and they still worship the bamos. Okay, unbelievable. Okay, and the perek goes on. So the question is, did Menashe do a good enough tshuva, or did he not do a good enough tshuva? Was his tshuva total, or was his tshuva not total? So the Mefarshim point out that here's the thing you have to learn from this. Menashe made a lot of mistakes, and he did a lot of terrible things, a lot of things wrong. Towards the end of his life, he did tshuva, and Hashem accepted his personal tshuva. But what happened with the people? They still went in the ways of Menashe, even after. Why? Because if you start something and you throw a match into the fire, it may be that you'll be able to put out the match that you threw in, but the fire will still be burning by all the heat that you created. We have to realize if a parent comes and does tshuva and becomes a Shem Shabbos, so he'll become a Shem Shabbos. But will his children follow and become Shem Shabbos? Maybe. It may be that they'll see. Maybe. But what we're trying to say is, don't wait too long, because you never know what the end result of what you started is, where is it going to end up? Because it maybe you started something that it's out of your control already. And once it's out of your control, you're not able to make tshuva. He was able to do tshuva, and Hashem put him back on the throne. But you can't guarantee the future that way. That's a fascinating point about this. Okay.
Excuse me, before we end the Shiur, we have to thank our Rav for always inspiring us, for always being dedicated to us, and we all the Shiurim. It's gonna be okay. I don't want to even talk about it.
Listen, if I knew that I was gonna get so many parties and so much covered, I would have been fired 10 years ago.
Very nice.
All right.
Thank you.
Careful.
Amen.
We should all.
Amen. Amen. We should always say, Amen. 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 Jessica, YouTube barrel. Jessica.
Rabbi, a big Yasher Koyach also. Yeah, for me.
No,
Make me feel good.
no such thing as an Amish kasha. It doesn't exist.
יהיה לך הרבה נחת.